All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Team Real Estate Wednesday trainings. We appreciate you being part of First Team Real Estate. We're in for a special treat with Jeremy Lehman, the manager and star and star presenter today of the Newport Beach office here. He's going to go over the mobile must-haves, and we're lucky to have him here. Jeremy, you're on.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. So we're going to talk about what it takes to be a mobile agent, right? So this kind of my history in real estate is tech oriented for sure. I was a real estate technology trainer for about 11 years before I became a real estate agent. And in my past, I've worked with companies like Apple and DocuSign, and we're going to talk about one of the apps today, MLS Touch, which I co-created back in 2011. As tech as I might sound, believe it or not, I'm actually very untechy. I just love the use of technology because it makes me more efficient and I can kind of get on with my day. So we'll kind of have some real life examples. I think the purpose of I think the mobile agent is it allows us to go out and do whatever we're going to do and not have to drop everything if somebody says I want to write an offer or I need to sign a document or escrow needs this thing, right? So as agents, we're all over the place. We're not just sitting at an office necessarily all day. And so having the right equipment is critical. So I'll start off with the first thing, and that is to invest in the right technology, right? I'm an iPhone guy. I'm an Apple products kind of guy. So I have a MacBook, I have iPads, and I have an iPhone. I recommend Apple products for real estate. You know, whatever laptop you use doesn't really matter to me. But when it comes to mobile technology, I'm going to highly recommend an iPad over any other type of device. So there's all kinds of great tablets out there. But I'll just share with you that when technology providers build products for real estate, they build on the Apple platform first, a mobile platform. So iPhone and iPad are the first to get any sort of technology. A great example is DocuSign. And I know this is a while back, but when DocuSign created their app back in like 2012-ish, it existed on iPhone and iPad for about a year and a half before it became available on Android devices. So I think it's critical as real estate agents that we just have access to the right technology at the moment it comes out. If you talk to any technology provider out there today, they're always building for Apple products first. It's just easier. It's way less expensive. The Apple environment to build products is great. So I don't want to turn this into an Apple versus Android type debate, but when it comes to real estate technology, I'm just going to say, invest in Apple devices. So it turns out that iPads, they kind of go out of they become unusable after a certain period of time. In my view, for real estate, when an iPad reaches about 4+ years old, it's no longer really that viable for real estate. So I would say if you haven't upgraded your device in a while, I would look into getting a new iPad. It doesn't really matter which one you get. I have a couple that I'm working with today. This is an iPad Pro. This is a while back. You can see my ring light on there. But this is like 11 inches. It's like the size, or 12 inches. It's the size of a sheet of paper, essentially. And I bought this about 6 years ago because I was out and about and I wanted documents to be full size. Like if I was going to be at an open house and someone was going to write a contract with me, I wanted my client to be able to see the whole contract. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. Turns out though, that just experience-wise, this device is gigantic and just not very mobile when it comes to, if you're, maybe if you're a woman with a big purse, it kind of makes sense. But for a guy to carry this thing around, if you're out and about for the day, it's just not going to happen. You're probably keep it in the car. So the other iPads that are kind of this medium size here, whatever they are, 9.5 inches or whatever it might be, is probably a better, more mobile option. What I would not do are the miniature iPads. So I think that's critical to make sure that you have one that still has enough screen size to be able to see what you're doing. They're really great for open houses. I use mine mostly for contracts and using the MLS at open houses and things like that. So I'm happy to entertain questions about that, but I would just say that the next piece to the iPad is it's always got to be connected to the internet. So I'm going to tell you to not look at the price tags so much, and you're going to upgrade to the LTE version of an iPad. You're going to get the internet connected iPad that's basically connected through your phone provider. Do not use your phone as an internet connection to your device. You're going to burn through your battery quickly. It's kind of clunky to set up I want to be able to turn on my iPad at any time and have it instantly connected to the internet and be able to use it. So if I have to turn on my iPad and connect it to an internet device like my phone, share my hotspot, connect it, and then get on, that doesn't really make sense. Imagine working with other professionals and they said, hold on 1 minute, let me try to get my device connected here. It just doesn't really make sense. So, oh, thank you, Cindy. I see a comment coming up. So anyway, I just think don't skimp on the $100 more for the iPad that's LTE connected. If you have an iPad that's Wi-Fi only currently, just upgrade the next time you close an escrow. That was kind of always my thing. I didn't just go out and buy technology just to buy technology. I sort of earned it through my next transaction. So if you can't afford one today, upgrade the next time, but I promise it's worthwhile. I think to connect our iPads to the internet, I think I pay $10 a month to connect this iPad to the internet through my phone provider. It might be 20 now with your provider. It's worth it. You might find a deal through your cell phone provider. So if you're using Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, or whatever, is Sprint still a company? Many times your phone provider will give you a little bit of a discount on that device if you buy it through them, and you get like a year plan. So if money's an issue to you, that might be a great way to kind of go about it. It's also cool to be able to walk out of the store with a connected device immediately, right? So Greg, what I'll do, if you want to, if people ask questions, I want it to be relevant and kind of, on topic. So if people have questions about something that I'm talking about at that moment, I'm happy to have you kind of stop me and we can kind of deal with that at the moment if you're okay with that. Okay, so that's kind of my thing on devices. You don't need to go crazy on them. You don't need the most expensive one. There's the iPad Pros, there's the iPad Airs. I just bought my wife an iPad Air the other day. It wasn't terribly expensive. I want to say it's about $600 or $700. You don't need a ton of storage on these devices. It doesn't have to be, we're not going to have 64 gigabytes worth of real estate data on these devices. If you want to use it for other things and you want to get a bigger hard drive on these devices, or storage, if you will, that's your call, but not necessary just for real estate purposes. What's a bummer to me is to find out that an agent bought a certain device because it was $100 cheaper than the one that they should have gotten. And so, like I say, just kind of don't really look at the price tag on these things. Your business is worth it. So keep that in mind. I saw Terry joined us. Hey, Terry, how are you? All right, I'm going to try and share. I'm going to try and share my iPad screen here again. I'm using an app called Reflector that allows me to share my device on my screen, on my computer, if you will. And it can get a little clunky at times, so my apologies. So here we go. Can everybody see my iPad? Okay. Yeah, okay, perfect. So the apps you see on the screen here are kind of the apps I use regularly on a mobile device. I'm not trying to do everything in a mobile environment. I'm simply trying to be efficient wherever I am. So what do I need as an agent to be efficient? I need access to the MLS. I need access to property profiles and property information. I need access to Zipform Mobile. My contracts. I use DocuSign. We'll talk about DocuSign a little bit. I've worked with them extensively in my past. DocuSign has some really cool tools that I think are valuable to us. I need access to my email. Here at First Team, we have the First Place app. It's pretty incredible. So I need access to First Place. We have KV Core. KV Core has an excellent open house app. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but you can use your iPad to have people sign in to your open house, and it'll automatically connect that person to KV Core. And so, and I apologize, I had my other iPad set up prior to this class, and it's not connecting to my my computer properly. So this one I may have to log into certain things at certain times, but we'll kind of get going. So the first app I want to talk about is MLS Touch. So I'm going to open up MLS Touch. Can you guys see my screen okay? MLS Touch pop up for everybody. There's really two, there's really two or three open house or MLS apps for real estate. I prefer MLS Touch. I worked on the team that built this a while back, but there's also, if you're not going to use MLS Touch, HomeSpotter is another one that's great. MLS Touch has become kind of the premium app for the MLS. They recently were bought by CoreLogic, and CoreLogic, if you don't know, they're the makers of Matrix, our crappy MLS platform. And so they bought MLS Touch. And so, they kind of completed sort of their software list. They kept the MLS Touch team intact, which is good news for everybody. But you can choose the MLS app of your choice. I think the important thing is that we know how to use it properly. What I love about the MLS on my iPad or on mobile device in general, and a lot of these work on iPhone, Android phone, iPad, or tablet, is if I just open it up and I'm already in. And here's the thing, the MLS doesn't normally work that way. If I'm on a computer and I get into the MLS, I've got to go to www.ocar.org, and then I got to log into OCAR. That brings me to a dashboard, and then I click on the matrix icon, and it takes me to a home screen, and then I've got to do a search to get to this stuff. If I'm in front of a client, or if I'm in my car just trying to look up some info real quick, I don't want to go through that process. So if you're logging into the MLS on your tablet, www.ocar or pwr.net or however you're doing it, you're just doing it wrong. You need a mobile application. So the mobile MLS, I hope we're all using a mobile platform for MLS these days, but I'm shocked when I find out some agents still aren't. You'll see the blue dot there in the middle. That's where I'm located currently. So it's smart. It knows where I am. It's going to be able to center the map around me. It knows I'm going to want to see the homes probably around me first. And if I touch an icon on there, it's going to open up very quickly that listing. If I touch the listing again, it's going to bring up all the details of that listing. I'm not sure why it's loading so slowly, so I apologize. Our internet here at Newport's not doing so great these past few weeks, but it'll load here in a sec. And it's going to give me all the details, including showing instructions, private remarks, agent information, really easy stuff. So I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir probably for the most part on this. However, there's some additional features in here that are pretty cool. The first thing is, these mobile MLS apps allow you to do full searches. So imagine you're in a listing appointment, and maybe you had to go on this listing appointment quickly. You weren't able to prepare. You weren't able to go by the office and print all the comps or do a CMA. I actually find this feature to be better than printing a CMA, to be honest with you. I can go up here on the top of the map, it says filters, and I have the ability to go in here and click, like for instance, listing status, and I can choose closed sales and hit apply. I can also look at other things like since, and I can go, I don't want all, but maybe 3 or 2 months back, depending on the area, makes a lot of sense. And I can hit search, and it's going to change my criteria eventually. You'll see it kind of slowly loading here, but it'll change all my criteria to sold listings in this area, whatever's on the map. And so if I can zoom out or zoom in, I'm just pinching my screen to zoom in or out. So here's Irvine Terrace, located across the street from the office. If I had a client and their property was located in Irvine Terrace, I can actually quickly just kind of draw a circle around their neighborhood. So now we're just talking about their specific neighborhood. Because if you're in Irvine Terrace, the properties that are adjacent in different neighborhoods don't really apply properly. And so I've got this for results thing. If I pull out this tab here on the right-hand side, it's going to show me those properties. A couple of them are rentals, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I can quickly see the details of those properties, which is pretty cool. So my point is, the search capability on the mobile app actually is better than what our MLS does. It's faster, it's more efficient. And once you learn how to use this application, imagine this in an open house. I just did an open house for the first time this past weekend, and we had a ton of people through, and they were asking about our pricing and what are the comps like in the neighborhood, these buyers that we're chatting with. And so you have the ability to pull out your iPad and quickly show them exactly what's going on in that area. Really, really cool stuff. And exactly what consumers are looking for, I believe, in an agent in 2022. I'm blown away when agents don't deploy this type of technology in their business. It's so much easier than working with our clunky MLS platform that's over 20 years old, right? The software package that is Matrix as we know it, it's been it's been kind of painted over a few times, but it's the same platform they built back in like 2003-ish. So I think it's critical to know you've got a better solution out there. If you're not using something like MLS Touch or HomeSpotter, I would switch it up very quickly. The other cool thing about this is I can do all kinds of different searches on here if I chose to. On the top, I can actually type in MLS numbers, or I can type in an address or something like that to very quickly go and look for things. And I can do like home tours with the app. So I can save the listings to my favorites and have them in a list, and I can go on a showing tour. I don't show properties very often since I've become a manager, but when I do, I'm using something like MLS Touch to be able to have access to those properties and drive to each one and have maps of each one. So very, very cool. We're not doing an MLS Touch class today, but they do webinars like daily. There's videos you can watch on it. I would definitely dig in and look into that. Is there any questions on MLS Touch at all? I see there's some stuff in the chat. Greg, I'll kind of throw it out to you if there's anything that we need to discuss.
Yeah, it is the MLS Touch, and one of the worries with everyone is that going to be the same information as far as the as fast as what the MLS is. So is there going to be a delay in MLS Touch?
Yeah, no delay whatsoever. MLS Touch is the MLS. The data they have is exactly the data in Matrix. Remember, they're bought by CoreLogic. CoreLogic is the Matrix provider. They build Matrix. So they share the same database as the MLS. It's real time. In fact, so I'm very good friends with the owner of MLS Touch, or the president, if you will. And so he kind of jokes that his database is a backup to our MLS if it fails. That's how accurate the MLS Touch database is. And you can say the same pretty much for any mobile MLS app, HomeSpotter being the other major one out there. Both of those applications have the same data, and it's all real time.
All right. And so the photos too, there is not a decrease in the amount of photos since they've increased the amount in the MLS. The same amount of photos will apply for MLS Touch.
Yeah, it's all the exact same. So this is awesome. Your MLS system. It's just when you log into these systems, they seem like they're not, and like their ancillary products are not part of the MLS. Their data is 100% the same, all in real time. In fact, they're probably by now sharing a lot of the same servers, wherever the servers are hosted.
All right, fantastic.
All right, so the next product is one that, once again, a lot of agents aren't really using. It's NAR RPR, and RPR is it's a free product provided by NAR. You can sign up for it. If you haven't signed up for it yet, it's narrpr.com, and you're gonna log in with your realtor or your NAR credentials and sign up before you can access the application. So there's a little bit of a setup process for you guys. Here's the best use of RPR. First of all, it's property profiles on steroids. RPR, some people consider it an MLS, and in some ways it could become an MLS today. If there was a fight between NAR and our local MLSs, this could suffice as an MLS replacement. However, they've pulled a bunch of features that would make it into an MLS out of the product, so it cannot replace an MLS. So don't use this as an MLS replacement, but it's basically a property profile and MLS hybrid. So all the active listings in the MLS are in here, as well as any other property profile data. So what you can do is you can come in here, and I think the best use for this is somebody calls me on the phone and they start talking about their home. So I got this call a couple of weeks ago. I sold a property in Huntington Beach, and a neighbor had called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking to sell my property," and we're talking. And I said, "What's your address?" And so here's what that would look like. Pablo, you might be familiar with this property. And so I would just type in an address, and when I hit search, it's going to pull it up. And so give it a sec here because I'm on a weak internet signal, but I'm going to see this property. In this case, it's on hold in the MLS. We've got 12 photos, but I can go through and I can kind of see all the information about it. I can see who the owners are. I can see the square footage. I have all this information within seconds of talking to the person. I can get a little bit of a grasp on the market in the area. Now, it's a little bit different when the property is listed in the MLS. Actually, some of the property features are disabled, and you'll see this button in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see, but it says public and listing. I can switch to public data or public records, and I can actually see who the owners of the property are and sort of vesting and all that kind of stuff. Now, another feature is turned off as well. There is usually a value range or an AVM associated with each property in RPR. In this case, it's shut off because it's a listing. However, on a normal home that's not listed in the MLS, right here where you see the list price, you would actually see a value range for that property. And you can actually go in and manipulate the value range. I actually find RPR's AVM model, their automated valuation range, to be probably the most accurate of the several valuation models that are out there. And so there's some really cool features. If you haven't dug into RPR, I'm just going to say this is probably the most exciting product you're not using. So especially their desktop version, you can log in on your computer as well as a mobile. You can actually really go and change up the valuation. There's sort of these sliders, if you will, that I can kind of manipulate the value of a property. One of the sliders is, how hot is the market? Is it cold or is it blazing hot? Well, our market is obviously as hot as it's ever been. You can't have a hotter seller's market than what we're experiencing. And just by moving that slider all the way to the right, it's going to increase the value of that property based on kind of that area around the property. And it talks about other factors like what's the condition of the home compared to other properties that have recently sold. What's the privacy of the home compared to other properties that have sold? And those types of things. So there's probably, I don't know, I think it's 6 or so sort of things that I can change. And you could, change the value of a property up or down substantially based on that. If my client's done some significant upgrades that aren't normal, like for instance, today, a lot of people are building ADUs in certain areas like Garden Grove or Anaheim as an example. Well, that's obviously going to increase the value of a home significantly that a normal AVM might not be able to say. So I'm not going to tell you that these AVMs are completely accurate, but I would challenge a lot of our agents, if you don't have any experience with that area and you're looking at a property that you're unfamiliar with, I would challenge you to disprove that valuation, right? When I'm looking through comps, I want to see, is that off? And if so, how is it off? Let me figure out these sort of answers to this thing. So anyway, I love RPR. When I was on the phone with this woman the other night, I said, oh, your house says 2,400 square feet. It looks like a mid-century modern property. Is it mid-century modern? Yeah. Does it have an atrium? Oh, absolutely. She was kind of impressed that I was able to have this intelligent conversation with the property about her within just minutes of her calling me. All I needed was her address. And sometimes you don't even need their address. You can actually just look them up by their owner name as well in the search thing. Now, the mobile app, for whatever reason, is a challenge to look up owner information. The computer is a little bit easier, but usually you can just type in an owner's name up here and find it, as long as it's the accurate name that you're looking for. So pretty cool stuff. That is NAR, RPR, or a realtor property resource, as it's known.
Yeah, Jeremy, and it's very important for everyone to know that that is nationwide. So if you do have someone that is looking to move to Tennessee, or in Texas or anything, you can even do neighborhood reports, county reports in there, and get down to so much data that look like you're the source to set you up for the referral. You can find out a property on the spot. So it's a nationwide service, which is just like Jeremy said, it's a fantastic product.
That's a really great add-on there, Greg. So, I have family members, I'm sure everybody else does too. They're going to reach out to me. I'm on the West Coast. I had an uncle sell a property in New Jersey a few years ago and asked me all kinds of questions. Well, I was able to look at all the photos of his property and kind of what the agent had done and realize that the property was being drastically under marketed, right? The features weren't showing well, the pictures looked like crap. Here's the point. You have this incredible resource that gives you a lot of information that consumer apps don't. It drives me nuts when an agent uses Redfin or Zillow. It's not designed for us. Those are designed to lead capture. That's the only purpose of those apps, by the way, is to get leads for those companies. Zillow wants leads, Redfin wants leads, Realtor.com wants leads. Make no mistake about it, these apps are not friendly to us as agents as much as we think they are. Realtor Property Resource is much more robust, and you're going to get agent information, and only real estate agents can access this info. There's also a commercial element to this as well. I don't do commercial, I don't use commercial, but there is commercial stuff in here. And up above, when we're on that property, let me go back to it. So all your recent properties will show on the main screen. There's also some features in here, like you'll see on the right below the price there, it says investor analysis. And so, if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, that might be helpful. I would just say this could take you a day to kind of really discover all the elements of this application. Pretty cool stuff. Once again, I'm shocked how under adopted RPR is. You should absolutely utilize this program. And back to that main screen again, the owner search is right here on the right-hand side. And that's where you can type in somebody's name and look for a property. So very quickly, you can access that information. Any questions on RPR at all? Okay, so the next application is ZipForm, and I'm gonna let me see if I can download it real quick. ZipForm has a mobile companion. I don't have it downloaded on this iPad, but I'm going to recommend ZipForm Mobile Companion. It's available in the App Store for I believe it's only Apple actually. I don't know that they have an Android version. If somebody's on an Android device and you see ZipForm Mobile Companion, can you please speak up and let us know? I don't have access to the App Store, but a while back it was iPhone, iPad only. This is the ZipForm website, and you got to log in and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not gonna dig in, but here's the deal: we all know how to use ZipForm. I have a tip for you though on ZipForm. The trick with ZipForm is not to start a contract by scratch at the moment you need to do it. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm doing an open house today. Well, I know what property I'm going to be at, and I know, so I know the address. I know who the agent of that property is. If it's mine, I can set that up. If I'm going to go on showings today, I know what buyers I'm going to go look at properties with. I know that I'll be their buyer's agent, right? So I can pre-fill out the contracts ahead of time. That is the biggest sort of mistake agents make. We just sort of leave the house with an iPad in our hand, and we're going to go, out with clients today that may or may not write an offer, and we're unprepared. So the thing is, be prepared. Fill out your contracts beforehand. We know likely where we're going to end up. We know what 5 homes we're looking at. Sometimes as agents, we're going on a second. We know our buyer's going to write an offer on this property today. So let's be ready for that. So I'm going to urge you to go on your computer into ZipForm and start a transaction for that client. You know their names. You know their. Once again, you're the buyer's agent. And there's a cool feature in ZipForm that we should all be using if you're not currently, and that's MLS import, right? So you can type in an MLS number and import the listing information, including all the agent information on the list side, which is pretty cool. And so if I'm doing my own open house, like last weekend, I did my own open house for our new listing. And so I had it ready to go with me as a buyer's agent. I just didn't know who the buyer was going to be. I knew I was also the listing agent on that property, and so ready to go. And so actually I ended up in one of Jeremiah's offices last night, writing an offer for one of those buyers. It didn't take very long. The longest part of the consult was obviously just talking about the terms of their offer, but not filling out the contract with everything. That's very minimal. So using an iPad for this is incredible. ZipForm Mobile Companion is a cool product for you to use. The next thing is DocuSign. So here's what I hear from agents all the time. Well, ZipForm has digital ink, and so why would I use DocuSign instead? Well, digital ink is a great product. So don't look here. Just kidding. Okay, make sure it's the right thing. Sorry, don't mind my old login. So it's critical that you're using products that can kind of talk to all of your other devices. Hopefully it's my right login. No, okay. So sorry, everything's not logged in on this device like it is on the other one. Here's the thing about digital or about DocuSign. I can open up applications, and I'll log in here in a minute, from other I can open up documents, like say from my email, and I can import it into DocuSign and sign things instantly. This is not something that digital ink allows. Digital ink is specifically a product in ZipForm, which would mean I'd have to open up ZipForm on my computer generally and import the document into ZipForm to sign it, where DocuSign allows it in a different way. So it recently made me change my password, so it's one of like 4. So give me a sec here. My apologies. Greg, in the meantime, are there any questions about anything else that we're talking about?
There's no questions, but it is available. By the way, the RPR was available from the Play Store, so it's Android and an Apple product. Okay.
RPR is, yes.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
ZipForm's mobile is both too as well.
Oh, cool. Good to know. So Android users, there we go.
In the ZipForms in the App Store and looking at it, is it just ZipForms by Lone Wolf now in the App Store, Jeremy, or is it still called? Because I can't find Mobile Companion.
Yeah.
You know what? It was ZipForm Mobile Companion. Let me take a look in another
just-
thing here.
Double confirm with Android, and it is zip form mobile companion.
Okay,
Good morning.
put in this
Yes,
code.
I want to add in for Jeremiah that does say zip form mobile by Lone Wolf and then companion.
Okay, there you go. So companions in there somehow.
Yep.
Okay.
Mine just says zip forms by Lone Wolf, so maybe I'm using an old phone.
I mean, Jeremiah,
I'm
are
kidding.
you like the least tech manager we have? by chance?
Probably.
That could definitely be the case. So here's DocuSign. And DocuSign, what I love about it, first of all, is when you log in, it's very simple. It's not like super elaborate, but I can go to my inbox and I can look up signed documents from a way back. As managers, we're signing all kinds of commission instructions and all kinds of stuff. But as agents, you're signing contracts. I can go look up documents at any time and have access to them from my mobile device. You ever have escrow call you, a couple days before closing, like, hey, we're missing the signed termite by the buyer, and like, oh, I have that. Hold on 1 second. Let me get it over to you. The bummer would be like you're at Disneyland for the day with your family. That's kind of my best example of like a really crappy situation. I'm at Disneyland and my client needs something or escrow needs something from me. And the last thing I want to do is quit my day, right? And go and dig something up at the office. So, you have access to these things from other places. So let me look at, we'll come back to DocuSign in a minute, but DocuSign is a very cool app and we can push other documents into it. We all need a PDF editor of some kind. And so I've been using PDF Expert forever. I'm open to whatever PDF editor program you use. It doesn't really matter to me. As long as you can manipulate information on the PDF, I think you're in good shape. So PDF Expert has been a fantastic product. I think it's like $20 or something like that. It's a great program to use, but you can it allows you to convert document like pictures to PDF. So if you wanted to scan a document and turn it into a PDF, you can do that. Pretty cool stuff. And so here's like the welcome to PDF Experts. This is a PDF, and I apologize for kind of what it is, but I don't have an email in here that I'm comfortable with opening up a document. I want to open a real sensitive document, but this is a PDF document that you can actually push into other products if you want, like DocuSign, or you can save it like in Dropbox or things like that. There's also this feature in here, fill and sign. You can actually sign documents live on here. So if I wanted to write my signature, you can actually create your signature right here in the application, and you can apply it to wherever you want to go if you wanted to. So I can select my signature, and gives me the ability to apply it on the screen if I want to. Hold on 1 second here. Oops. So if I select my signature, it's kind of blocking me here on my screen. My screen's a little bit different than your guys's. So I can apply my signature to the screen here. It's not letting me right now for some reason. But so you have the ability to kind of do that sort of thing. And then the other option is you've got all these sort of things on the side. You can share, you can print your PDFs from anywhere. You can sort your PDFs. You have the ability to separate. Sometimes we need to separate our PDFs a little bit. You can do that. Pretty cool stuff. You can email it directly from this page, or you can export it into other programs or applications, which is pretty cool. So PDF Expert has kind of been my favorite. Generally, what I like to do is take a PDF that someone's emailed to me, and there's a feature that allows me to open it up in an application. And so let me see if I open my email real quick. Oops. See if I can find a product to kind of show you guys. So here's an offer that I received. We'll just kind of use, this is a real, hopefully it loads. A real offer that we got on a property. It's really slow, sorry. Here we go. So when you have an offer, the cool thing is you can open up a document, and there's a little button. I call it the action button. I don't know what to call this little button on the top right. It's a little box with an arrow pointing up. And when you touch that, it gives you the option to open up in different programs like Evernote or Dropbox, or I can email it. And then if I keep going, DocuSign is one of those options. And so I can push from my email a document into DocuSign, or PDF Expert was one of those other options. So depending on what your kind of needs are, I have the ability to go and open this up. Now, as a manager, this happens all day, every day. We're signing commission instructions and avids, or not avids, but whatever other, the cancellations or whatever it might be. And so sometimes it's just me signing, sometimes you have other people signing. So you have 3 options for signing. It's me, only others, or me and others. And so let's just say it's me in this case, and I wanted to sign a document. And so I'm not going to go through this entire thing because it's sensitive with offer prices and stuff like that. But when I open up this application, I have the ability to apply my signature. Let's pretend for a minute that I wanted to sign here on the bottom. I have the ability to just put my signature anywhere I want on the application. So, oops. And I can add the date signed as well. Really, really easy stuff. I mean, it doesn't get more simple. In fact, this is so simple to use on my iPad or on my phone that I'll be sitting here at my desk on my Mac, and somebody will send me something to sign, and I actually pull out my mobile device to sign it because it's just faster. I didn't have to log into DocuSign.com and upload a document in there and download it to my computer and all that stuff that you normally have to do. And then I can simply hit finish, and it allows me to email it or share it with somebody else, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to hit no thanks. But that's what doing that in a nutshell looks like. Another option is to go back to this document. And like I said, another thing I can do is I can open this document in, say, PDF Expert. Let's try that again. So if I scroll over, and there's so many applications that you can open up documents into, or push into, if you will. Google Drive, it allows me to save it in Google Drive. I can open it in Evernote. I can open it in Dropbox. Where do you need these documents to go? So the cool thing about technology today, and we used to talk like how elusive the paperless transaction is. And I always say, transactions are paperless by default these days. If you print it, you're screwing up the paperless transaction. Even when I was in Jeremiah's office last night with the buyer, we signed via DocuSign. We didn't print all the documents out, have them sign them, and then scan them into something. I'm not saying you can't do that, but you don't have to, right? So pretty cool stuff to be able to kind of push documents around from one application to another. Obviously, it takes a little bit of practice. This isn't something you can just start, go on a showing this afternoon and do. But I think you kind of see where this is going. You've got everything at your fingertips all at once. I don't have to go into detail on Dropbox, but Dropbox obviously allows me to have file storage. With First Team, we all have a Gmail account that gives us a Google Drive account, same thing. And I can access all of my documents. In my case, my Dropbox, I generally use it just for listing photos, and I share that with my photographer. So my photographer always gives me, kind of pushes our photos into a Dropbox folder for me in my Dropbox account, so I can access those photos immediately. So that's pretty cool stuff. Any questions on that stuff, Greg, at all?
Yeah, but just one comment. I mean, the PDF Expert, also what's very important is to have a stackable order on presenting offers. As agents are getting multiple offers and they don't want to see, piece together email of an offer with 7 different attachments, or documents. So PDF Expert is fantastic to merge, to do what you need to do, get your pre-qual letter at the last second, whatever you need to do, and merge it in the proper order and stacking order to make us look more professional to get that deal.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And here's another kind of feature. When you go to edit PDF, notice how all this text sort of highlights. This is kind of scary, guys. You can actually delete groups of text on here. Not that you want to do that, but look how easy it is to edit PDFs these days. Very, very dangerous. Obviously, we're not allowed to edit our CAR contracts, but just know that you've got a really, really powerful PDF editor at your fingertips for 20 bucks. I use it both on my desktop and my iPad. It's a really, really great program. Anything else on that, Greg?
No.
Okay, so another product that you guys all have for free, which is very, very cool, is the KV Core Open House app. you have the ability, this one pulls in, it opened up a property that already had, there's a PIN code to exit, but you can just simply type in an MLS number. Greg, by chance, do you have an MLS number for me to look at real fast?
Let's see here. No, I don't. Let me get one real quick.
Okay.
Anybody have an MLS number? Anybody?
Yeah, anybody want me to see a property? I can look one up real fast.
I'm on the MLS. You want an active or sold, or does it matter?
Active, please.
Oh, active.
So you can pull up anybody's listing on here. It does not have to be your own, which is pretty cool. Is that you, Pablo?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
NP for Newport.
Okay.
220 22721.
Okay. So you confirm the property, and then you have all kinds of things you can do for the open house sign-in. So you have this ability to kind of require certain things. I'm going to recommend, I was just with one of our agents this weekend doing it, and everybody should have their own process of what you're going to ask for. But I always have like name and email address are the required ones for me. Some people require phone numbers, so you can have phone number on there and you can require it if you want to. You can require are you working with a real estate agent? And you can require, where did you hear about this open house? I think some people love those. By default, those features are usually turned on. I turn off these features. Maybe phone number could be an optional one. Personally, I turn them off because I find that when we ask too many questions, sometimes people sort of shut down and don't want to engage at the open house, especially if I ask, like, are you working with another agent? But I'll just leave it up to you guys on kind of what questions you ask. I would switch it up, try it a few different ways. I think if they have to answer more than, say, 3 questions or so, it becomes a little cumbersome and frustrating for them. They just want to get in and see the house. If you've done an open house recently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's, lines of people outside of these listings. So anyway, you kind of choose what questions you want. You hit next. I can add images to the property if I want. What information do I want to display on this property? And hit next. And I can add hashtags if I want to. And then preview and launch. It asks you to create a PIN. And so that PIN is so that nobody can exit the open house without you doing it. I hit launch, and this is what the screen looks like. I'm going to recommend that when you're at an open house, that you hold on to your iPad. I don't want it to walk away. Our agent did a really good job of sort of just standing right by the iPad, left it kind of on a table in the entryway of the property. Because there were 2 of us at the home, it sort of created an opportunity for one of us to be by the door and the other to be kind of roaming around the house and helping people as they were looking at the property. And so, they're just going to sign in. And when they hit submit, that contact info goes right into your KV Core app. KV Core has a host of follow-up texts and emails that go out to this person. That's really, really cool. You should be the first person to sign into your open house app and experience kind of what that consumer is going to go through. And do you want to change anything about it? Do you want to change what that message looks like? Do you want to change the timing of those messages? Here's what I love about it. When I do open houses, I don't know about you, but Saturday and Sunday at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I kind of want my day to be over. I want to get on with my evening, my family, or whatever I might be doing. And so the last thing I want to do is go, the 50 people or the 20 people that might have signed in at the open house today, is go plug them into a database and message them all. This app has already done that for you. That you don't need to do any other follow-up. Now, you should spend some time on follow-up with those key people that you may have met, maybe give them a call or something like that, but you don't have to go set them all up in a database as well, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to highly recommend, if you're not already using the KV Core app, sorry, my phone's ringing, the KV Core app, then definitely check it out. Very, very cool application. Any questions on that at all, Greg? I know I kind of see the chat up there, but I'm not sure kind of what's going through.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay. Excellent. So, some other apps.
I have a quick question.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you know any other app other than KV Core that is good for open house purposes? Do you know of, top of mind?
Well, yeah, Spacio, SPACIO. It makes a good application. The problem is it doesn't connect to your database. So it's not the same sort of experience that you would normally have. Spacio's done a good job. They got sold a few years ago, and the problem when some of these applications get sold to bigger companies, they just sort of die on the vine. Spacio has not been improved in several years. It's kind of concerning to me. That was Maurizio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of concerning to me, but that's another option. So either way, you definitely want an open, like if you're doing a sign-in sheet, right, pen and paper at an open house, you're just doing it wrong. Think about this. Think about the experience and sort of the presentation to the consumer when you meet me at my open house and I'm holding an iPad and I hand it to you and I say, please sign in, right? It's a pretty cool experience. Once again, it sort of gives people a preview that you're up to speed on sort of today's technology and utilizing it for your business. If anything, that's going to give you a little bit of a bump, I think.
Open Home Pro is something that's similar to what you're describing.
Yeah, Open Home Pro is actually a very old app. I don't, Lindsay, are you still using it?
I am. I want to switch over to something that merges with KV, but yeah, it works well for me actually. But...
Okay, so that's an older app that once again is one of those die on the vine apps. But if you're just using it for people to log in, it does work. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to clue me in, Lindsay. Is it still connecting to the internet like mine just did with not my own listing, right? Pulled in all that listing data from that property.
No, I have to put my listing data in, but it does it does go into my the clients immediately go into my database.
Okay, so the difference then with Open Home Pro and the KV Core one is that Open Home Pro, you need the photos and you need the listing information. So you're going to create the listing in the app. It's not MLS connected and pulling information and it's not yours. And that's actually one of the reasons why I stopped using it. My sort of flow has been, I used to use Open Home Pro, and then Spacio came around, and Spacio is connected to the MLS, but it only allowed me to pull in my own listings. It didn't allow me to pull in other people's listings. And what really got me about the KV Core app, not just about the automated follow-up that I think is, that's ready to go outside the box or out of the box, if you will, but the fact that I can pull in anybody's listing at any time is pretty cool. But you have three options, guys. Check them out and look into them and choose the one that's best for you. Another application you should absolutely have is SkySlope. So, SkySlope has a mobile version. You don't see it on this iPad. I have it on this other iPad that I was going to use today. But SkySlope is killer. The mobile app allows you to upload your documents, access your documents at any time. You can do this on your phone. You can do this on your tablet. Very, very cool. And, Greg, you'd have to help me. I don't know if they have an Android version for that too, but Android users, if you're using it on an Android device, let me know or let us know. But I mean, that's a must have, right? You got to have access to your transactions. So I've talked a little bit about Evernote. So I use Evernote. You'll see the little elephant icon there on the bottom. Here's my mobile agent must have class outline. What I love about Evernote is I can access all my documents at any given time. And I can look at them on my phone. I can look at them on my computer. I can look at it on my mobile device. I think Michelle Harrington also uses it. We're kind of Evernote lovers as far as the app goes. I should say I kind of came out wrong. But so Evernote's just a really cool way to kind of keep track of documents. If I'm talking to one of our agents about their business or something like that, I'm putting notes in Evernote. If you see me at a manager's meeting or another meeting of some kind, I'm taking my notes in Evernote, and they're just there forever. Evernote, there's a free version that allows you to get on, I think, 1 or 2 devices. To hook it up to multiple devices, you need to upgrade to one of their other editions, which is something like $60 or $70 a year. Once again, we're professionals. I think access to important information at all times is critical. The cool thing about Evernote is you can actually upload photos and other things into it to create a new note. There's just a new button on the bottom. You can categorize them if you want to. So you'll kind of just see there's so many different kind of things you can do with this application. Very, very cool. But I don't know what I'd do without Evernote. It's just a great product. So Greg, I see the chat growing. Is there more things or other questions coming up?
No, at first the Android SkySlope is available for both Android and Apple.
Cool, excellent. So Android users, you have access to that.
Other
sort of, go ahead.
On the open house, they're just saying maybe a stand would dissuade someone from walking away with your iPad at an open house.
Yeah, so I just recommend holding it personally. You know, I wouldn't just leave it out on the table unless you're going to be at that position the entire time. And this, for our open house this weekend, our agent was at the table the entire, never left her quote unquote station at the front door. It did a really great job of sort of controlling the flow of traffic and sort of setting the expectation as people came through, giving them a flyer, things like that, which is pretty cool. But you know, not everybody has the luxury of having two people at an open house. And so, you know, if you're roaming around your own open house, leaving it on a stand by the front door is a big mistake. You know, in a lot of neighborhoods, that iPad will not be there by the end of the day. And that's not a good situation for anybody. So other applications, you know, that you can have on an iPad, you can have Microsoft Word, you can have Microsoft Excel, there's PowerPoint, you can get it for your iPad. It also comes by default, there's some Apple products. Pages is the Apple version of Microsoft Word. Keynote is the Apple version of PowerPoint. And Numbers is the Apple version of Excel. I still use Excel in those Microsoft products because I'm just used to them. Also, most people in kind of the business world use Excel as an example. And so, you know, when you kind of switch a PowerPoint slideshow to Keynote, you're going to lose some fonts and things don't always kind of look the same. So just be careful. And so those Word or those Microsoft document type programs are available to you if you need them. I don't want to ever forget about fun. And so, you know, Apple Music or Pandora, you know, I think when you're at an open house, especially, just think about the ambiance and music and that kind of thing. So bringing a Bluetooth speaker and having some music playing in the background is kind of a cool thing to do. And I'd set up a playlist or something like that that you like. You know, once again, your iPad should be connected. So if not, you're going to need to download all that music and stuff and have it sort of on that tablet before you can go anywhere. And that's kind of it for the mobile agent must-haves. It's, you know, there's not a lot of crazy stuff going on with these applications. It's very, very cool. Many times the mobile edition of these programs that we're using is sort of simplified for a mobile experience, like ZipForm Mobile Companion as an example. I'm not going to go into it today, but ZipForm Mobile Companion does have one additional signing solution that I think is critical for you to know, and that is it's called TouchSign. And TouchSign is exclusive to a tablet, and it allows you to sign live on the tablet. It's kind of a clunky experience. I used to use it quite a bit. I don't any longer. I just use DocuSign now to sign our documents when I'm with people in a mobile environment. But there is a TouchSign feature. ZipForm's teaching classes or has videos already on the mobile companion. I just did a Newport Beach Association of Realtors, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, did a class on it. It's very good. I'm sure there's a recording of that somewhere that you guys could access. Also, Lone Wolf, I'm sure, has a ton of videos on using their features. I would just end with the fact that I think we all need to be experts at each one of these applications that we're going to use for our business, right? So your MLS application, RPR, DocuSign, PDF Expert, Dropbox, or Google Drive, or whatever you're using. You know, I think you need to understand how to use those applications quickly, so you're capable of getting the information in and out. So you're not spending your whole day on your tablet trying to relearn how to do this, if that makes sense. So I would just spend some time kind of learning how to use these applications, you know, one at a time, and start with the MLS, which I think is the very, very most important. Greg, I'll throw it out to you, or anybody has any questions, happy to answer them.
We have a couple.
Hi, this is Rachel. I just wanted to say I use ZipForms mobile all the time to do my Avid, because you can talk into the speaker. The form's already there because I have horrible handwriting, but it's awesome because it goes right into your Avid and ZipForms, and then you can just edit it. It's awesome.
I love that. Thank you. I didn't even think about the voice to text feature in there. That's a great use of ZipForm mobile. It's perfect.
Okay.
Greg, go ahead.
We have a question, a couple of them. One is, what is the best way for clients and agents to make notes when viewing properties?
Oh,
on a mobile device?
That could just be a notes program. I mean, here's the thing. I actually don't like typing on an iPad. I think as Rachel just said, you know, the voice to text, that's pretty cool. You know, you have a notes app on the tablet. I don't have mine in front of me. It's somewhere on here, I'm sure. But you know, Apple has, oh, sorry, this is a search feature on here. We can search for notes. You can use a notes feature for that. Here we go. and just type in, notes on anything. So I really don't use this application. I do like how on Apple devices, it'll sync to other, there it goes. It'll sync to other sort of things, but you can have whatever kind of notes you want in there. So you can just take notes in here, I guess would probably be the easiest.
Sandy was saying that MLS has a notes feature, but can clients also use it? I don't believe they can.
No, and so, well, MLS Touch does have a private notes thing in there that is pretty cool. Your client, I didn't go into it, but MLS Touch does have an MLS client app as well that you can invite people to use. In fact, let me see if I can remember where that's located. In MLS Touch, there's a little more button on the bottom, and let me see if I can see it. So brand and share. So brand and share allows you to create an app for your consumer. And I believe it's just like MLS Touch. And I do believe there might be a note-taking feature in there. You might want to look into that as well. But you know what? I'll be honest. I'm kind of old school. I'm a pen and paper kind of guy when it comes to if I'm walking around doing stuff. You don't have to overthink the notes thing and electrify everything. I think it depends on the consumer, right? Evernote would be another great place to take notes, obviously, for me if I'm on a mobile device. But I just find it kind of challenging to walk around with my iPad and use my thumbs to type notes and things like that. So it can be rough. It just depends on who you are.
Yeah. And then Terry shared with us that Holify, of course, one of our another broker paid apps tools that you can download for the tablet, and it's an incredible advantage for home tours. To have that on the spot and download it too.
Oh, that's a great one. I can't believe I left that one out. So good call, Terry. Yes, absolutely. Look into the Holify app. We've done trainings on it, I believe. Add that into your mobile experience for sure.
Yeah. And then Terry's at it again with another great feature of the Evernote is the voice recording as well.
Yeah, for sure. What else? Any other questions, guys?
There's nothing else in the chat. Is there any other questions for Jeremy?
Let's see.
Well, everybody's on their phones right now, downloading apps.
They're all downloading apps. Yeah. Here, let me just recap. I think the first thing is, one, learning how to use the apps. Two is being prepared ahead of time. Once again, when it comes to zip form, especially, don't be the agent who shows up to the open house and wings it. Show up with contracts already kind of pre-prepared ahead of time. Set up that transaction off-site. If you're going to do showings this afternoon, which 5 houses you're going to see, or in this market, maybe you're lucky to just see 1 today. And why not have a contract ready to go on that property, especially if your client's already expressed interest in it. I can also set up, in like my Google Drive, I can have access to all my buyers' loan docs and all those things. So I can email all the documents right away from my iPad to that listing agent and have everything attached in that one email. I can have everything kind of loaded up into PDF Expert as an example. So just understand that this is about as flexible as you want it to be. It can feel a little cumbersome at first. You've just got to give it a shot. I promise you, I'm not as tech as I sound. I love technology because it makes me efficient and I can just go about having fun. I travel a ton with my family on the weekends. I'm going to Big Bear, we're going to the desert, we're going to Lake Havasu. We're all over the place. And so I rely on my mobile technology exclusively when I'm out of town, and being able to, someone texts me on the road and I need to pull over real quick, knock something out real quick and get right back on the road. Very, very easy to do. And I don't have that anxiety sort of lingering all day that I need to get back to this person and answer their question or do that thing, like write an offer or whatever it might be. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and they wanted to write an offer on our listing. We had a kind of a 5 o'clock deadline for offers. He said, I'm just not going to be anywhere to be able to write this offer until tonight. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a bummer. How can you not be anywhere to do it, right? He just didn't have the technology to write the offer and send it to his clients to sign. What a bummer for him. I mean, we obviously waited for the offer to come in, but still, what a bummer that his clients have an agent that he's not able to service in a timely manner in this kind of market that demands it, right? So, any last questions or comments?
Yes, we do have a couple of things. How do you speak? Can you speak into zip form mobile to fill in, any of the forms?
I've never tried it. So, and I don't have the companion on this tablet. It's on my other tablet. I've never tried speaking into the forms, but I think that's what Rachel said she does, right? Rachel, you said
absolutely. You have to have them uploaded in zip forms first. so that when you're out there, that when you go into Zip Form Mobile, the forms are there. And it is really cool. And you can upload pictures, by the way, too.
Yeah, that I remember you have the ability to do, which I think is great on an Avid, right? So very, very cool stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. I think that's such a great takeaway for everybody.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
I just tried it because she talked about it and it does work. There's a little, I just actually loaded the Avid into one of my packages from Zip Forms Mobile. And then there's a little microphone at the lower right and you can use that to speak into it. So cool.
Perfect.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You're welcome.
I would definitely double check though and go back to make sure the wording is correct. Right on those.
Oh, yeah, for
Actually,
sure.
when I get back home, I look at it on the computer and some words, somehow they kind of don't come out polite sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next time I do this
Yeah.
class, Rachel's going to be my co-host. We're going to do this together.
That's awesome. So
No
then
problem.
Jacob do you have a platform of choice for performing listing presentations mobilely?
That's a good one, Jacob. I mean, I think we all go back and forth. I'm more of a live guy, so I'm going to use MLS Touch for comps. So let's backtrack. First of all, I do show up with stuff in hand. Even though I like technology, I'm going to show up with a CMA. I'm going to show up with a folder with marketing pieces and things like that. But the tablet really comes into play where we can dig into the market, and especially depending on the client, right? So MLS Touch to look at comps and things like that, kind of look through listings. If you want to show videos, you should have it all queued up, right? So have your browser open with like your YouTube page open, maybe, samples of your before and after for staging, photos and things like that. So I don't really have a platform. I kind of, I'm not consistent in that, Jacob. I'm always kind of experimenting and I haven't really found anything I'm super comfortable with that just kind of works every single time. I'd open it up to anybody here on the call. Anybody have something they're working with that really works for them? Jacob, I imagine you're doing something, by the way. Why don't you share with us what you're using as a platform for that? Are you there?
Hey, Jeremy. Sorry about that. So
No worries.
I was kind of curious on if you like to have the kind of the PDF version of the first team presentation that you've kind of tailored to yourself or kind of have agents deal with, or if you kind of open it up or have it integrated from Lucid Press on. I was just curious on if you utilize the iPad to kind of display the presentation versus having the printed white book that you flip through. I was curious if you just had kind of a format that you liked better than others.
I like the live version, the web browser. So when you go to the marketing store, you go to listen presentation. I don't have a custom one built for me quite yet. So I just use the first team one that's in the marketing store. It's crazy. I kind of don't go nuts on the custom marketing stuff. I find it, at least for me in my business, it's not so critical that I have all this custom stuff. I know some agents do and they love it and it's great. I think we all kind of have our own flow when it comes to that. But the mobile presentation, we have one for recruiting too, by the way, for as managers that are access just through our browser, which is very, very cool. So I just kind of go live, Jacob, and use the web browser for that. Although, if I created products in Lucid Press as PDFs, I would actually throw, I'd save them into PDF Expert and have that all ready to go. And that's the other trick, by the way, is, half hour before your listing appointment is to have all that stuff kind of queued up and ready to go, right? Which is, believe it or not, what I had ready for this presentation today, but on this iPad, not on the one I'm currently using. So kind of hit me the wrong way. But anyway, so I think, the idea here is kind of it's endless of what we can do. And so it's good to have them all in one place. Google Drive or Dropbox is another great spot. Just have a folder that syncs up to your computer. You can throw everything in there real quick, and have it like that. You can have market reports and all kinds of other documents in there as well. I still print that stuff out for my listing appointments when I have time for the appointment. I do like paper in an appointment, but I also like to use the iPad for sort of live stuff, if you will.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I have one last question. What is the latest? I do have a couple of iPads, but they're kind of old. What is the latest, best equipment to take with you? What iPad do you have?
iPad Air, I think, is more than sufficient for what we do. The iPad Pro is probably overkill for real estate agents. There's a lot of like drawing features and things like that I just don't think we need. As agents, we're using very, very low use out. These applications that we have don't take up a lot of memory or things like that. We're not like doing AutoCAD like an architect or somebody or a designer of some kind. So you don't need anything major. I would get the iPad Air though over the regular iPad. So there's 3 iPads. There's the iPad, regular iPad, then there's iPad Air, and then there's the iPad Pro. The iPad Air is kind of, like I said, I just bought it for my wife recently. It's kind of a late Christmas present. They just didn't have them in stock around Christmas time. So, and I'm a last minute kind of shopper. So she got it a little bit late, but it's such a great sort of iPad. They weigh nothing, by the way. She throws it in her purse. They have these cool keyboards that kind of go with it now, which is pretty cool as well. So don't go crazy on the iPad, but iPad Airs are very reasonably priced right there in the $500 or $600 range. I think you get to $700 or so with the LTE version, which is totally worth it for your business. And like I said, they last about 4 years-ish before they start to get a little clunky on doing certain types of things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The iPad Pro supports the pen. Do you find that you don't ever need the pen for signatures or anything?
So I kind of like the pen, I kind of don't. So I've always used a stylus with my iPad. I stopped even using a stylus. Everything's just using my finger now. The iPad Air also supports the pen too. So you can use it on both.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You say cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, I think you're good to go with if you like the pen and the drawing feature, it's pretty cool. There's also some like handwriting to text applications now that you might use. My handwriting is way too sloppy for that stuff to work for me. I've never had great experience with that, but there are some applications with the pen that's kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing. You can get crazy with it if you really want to. Other questions, guys?
We have a comment. Does anyone use 2 iPads to mirror the presentation using Reflector or something so the client gets one and you have one? Seems like a great way to go, so you're not in that awkward way.
I've never tried that. I am using Reflector right now, and I am using two iPads for this presentation, but one of them is just simply my notes that I'm reading, and the other one's actually the one you're seeing on the screen. I've never tried it with multiple, like here's the iPad and you're going through my slideshow. It's not a terrible idea. I wonder if anybody has tried that. Anybody here on the call ever try using 2 iPads at once in a presentation?
You also could now, since you can now share your iPad screen to your Mac, you actually could just turn your Mac around, have them watching it so they don't have to hold an iPad. And then you have your iPad in hand interacting, and everything you do, they're going to see instantly. That doesn't require Reflector anymore. That's now AirPlay natively on the Macs.
It's not a terrible idea at all. Yeah, I like that. Here's what I find, especially with MLS Touch. When I pull up sold properties on MLS Touch, either on my phone or my iPad, and I'm sitting next to my clients, with COVID, I guess, we're not sitting always as close to our clients as we used to. I just haven't had that experience recently. We're always just sitting right next to each other. But I've actually had experiences where my clients take the iPad out of my hand, like, oh my God, these are all the solds in our neighborhood. Give me this. They literally take it from my hand and go, because they don't have that. I mean, this is amazing. We forget that our clients don't have access to the sold sales. So I kind of like it when they sort of take the iPad and look at these sales themselves. It's a new experience. And you know what? I think more than anything, it's transparent, right? They're used to agents showing up with like, here are the 5 properties that are like yours. Here's where we're going to list your house. They really haven't had an experience where somebody's just open about it. Like, hey, look, let's talk about pricing. Here's what's sold in your neighborhood. I think you can probably push your value into this range. What are your thoughts on pricing? And here's the comps. And, they can get a chance to go through, oh, this house is better than ours. This house isn't as good as ours. That kind of thing. And there's this real honest sort of dialogue about pricing rather than just sort of me presenting, what I'm going to do for you. So that's worked really well for me in my business personally.
And last question, Jeremy, scanning in the app is, the PDF, or is there any other scanning apps that you would recommend, or just can you do that through the PDF Expert?
So I love an app called Scanner Pro. It's been around forever and it still works really well. And so I don't have the ability on this iPad to show it to you. My apologies, but great for your phone. So Scanner Pro, I think it's free. They might have a little bit of an upgrade in there, but you simply take a picture of any document. It'll convert it into a PDF for you. And it'll even clean it up. It knows like you have shadows and all that kind of stuff. It'll remove the shadows from the document. It'll square up the document, make it look really good. So Scanner Pro is one I've used forever. It's on my phone currently, and I love it. I don't use my iPad for that because generally when I'm doing Scanner Pro. It's my phone, right? So you don't see it on my iPad, but that's a great question. Also, I tried the Notes app in Apple does have a feature for this. Use a camera button and you can scan a document. But I do have a problem with, let me see if I can find one here. Sorry.
Yeah, you're finding that there's also Cam Scanner too, which is a great app. Someone mentioned I've used that prior to as well.
Perfect. So here's kind of what, let me open up to a document. Here's a document right here. And I would simply just take a picture. And now it's going to have me kind of square it up a little bit. So I don't know if you guys can see these lines, but you kind of take the lines and you move them to the corners, if you will. And so it works okay, but it doesn't work nearly as well as like, Scanner Cam, or what was that one you said, Greg?
Cam Scanner.
Cam Scanner. Yeah, Cam Scanner or Scanner Pro. There's probably 50 of these applications these days, but I can hit, keep scan, and it sort of, now it made this into a document. It's still not super clean. I'd be a little bit embarrassed about presenting an offer that looked like this, right? It's a little bent, it's out of shape. So it doesn't really meet my standards. Scanner Pro does a great job of squaring it up. I'm sure Cam Scanner, same thing. These apps are way better than the Notes, but this is a free, sort of integrated on your phone or iPhone and iPad. You could do this in a pinch if you didn't have one of those other applications.
Awesome. And then the last thing I know that because we're running out of time, shared that Keynote is great for presentations. So feature presentation Keynote.
Yeah. So I'm not a big presentation guy. Obviously, I don't have slides and stuff for today. I kind of go live into stuff. But if you're a presenter, Keynote is way better than PowerPoint in many ways if you're like sort of artistic. However, PowerPoint or Keynote are both, apps that you can utilize. You can put PowerPoint on an iPad. So like as managers, we get access to PowerPoint slides if we want them. And so, the problem that I have on my Apple devices, if I use Keynote, is it converts these slides and they don't always look the same, right? Like I said before, fonts are changed and maybe the sort of art that's in there or whatever may not apply. So it can be a challenge. So just be careful when you're using Keynote. If you're pulling it from other things, it may not look the same. So you just have to spend a little bit of time making sure it all kind of plays out perfectly.
And the last share, we have a couple more so people can write these down. Adobe Scan, Genius Scan, and Fast Scanner are also a couple recommended ones too as well.
Love it.
And then Microsoft Lens is also a good one. All right, with that said, I mean, there's been a lot. There's definitely been a lot. Jeremy, you've done absolutely fabulous. There's a lot of takeaways today. I'm sure that a lot of people through there with their head down and putting apps in their phone, which is good because it's only going to make them better at what they do, and especially in this digital world. But before we go, I want to make sure that we mention next week's training, that we do have Testimonial Tree that will come up, presented by Justin Corbett from Testimonial Tree. But they're going to dive in the overview of Testimonial Tree and how we use it, though, so that how do we link Testimonial Tree to our Google page, how we link our Zillow and Yelp testimonials to Testimonial Tree, and how we can best collect testimonials and make them more visible on the Google search. So that is going to be next week on Wednesday. We appreciate everyone being part of First Team. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for doing what you did today. And this will be on the recording later on today. All right. Have a good day, everybody.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Take
Thanks
care.
for being here today.
All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you.